First-time head coach, taking over a team that has really been dismal for the last 7 years. I want to ask you about situational football for a second and see, because every situation is a learning experience, right, for a coach?
It is.
It is. Okay, so I want to say that you take a 3-point lead, you got 13 seconds left to go, and you got to kick the ball off to Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes. What do you do in that situation? What did you learn about that situation?
I can't tell you.
You can't tell me? Why not?
I just gave it right back to you, what you gave me. No, I'm gonna let that one lie. Obviously a great game. Came down to the end. It was a tough one, and I'm happy to be here.
All right, okay, I get all that. All the
He's happy to be here, folks.
There you go.
It was amazing. I just want to say, like, most of us in the media couldn't believe that a team could score within 13 seconds.
Yeah.
The way that Patrick and the Chiefs did that day. And I'm just wondering, like, I watched Josh Allen the last 2 minutes of that game. That kid made so many plays and gave you guys such a performance that I'm wondering, do you see any similarities between Josh and Daniel Jones?
Boom, what I've learned to do is, I've been doing this for 22 years in the National Football League, coach a lot of different guys, a lot of really good players. Try not to compare them, let them go out there, figure out what they do well. I think you can kind of get stuck once in a while when you start looking at a guy that you have and comparing them to the old guy you had and trying to put stuff in for them. I think the best thing that we can do is come out here, practice different plays, kind of figure out what we are, and that's a work in progress for us right now with Daniel.
When you were talking to teams about jobs and you're going through resumes of the teams like they're going through yours, and you get to the Giants, did the recent history of them changing coaches very quickly factor into your decision-making process?
No, like I said, this has been a dream come true. It's taken a long time to get this opportunity. I interviewed for multiple jobs the last few years, and there's only 32 of them, and when they called and offered me the job, I was, beyond elated and excited to get going.
Did you get a congratulatory text from Bill Belichick? Because he was sending congratulatory texts all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. You want to answer that? I was just wondering, that's all. I know. But anyway.
Any other stuff you don't want to talk about?
Boom is on fire this morning.
Well, I mean, I follow this stuff, and part of the NFL that makes it so great is the drama that is around the NFL. It's not just the games itself, but all the different things that are happening. And, look, Giant fans, for whatever reason, got tired of Joe Judge. Now, you're friends with Joe. You know Joe. You coach with him at the New England Patriots. Did you talk to Joe at all about, what he left behind?
Yeah, I talked to Joe a few times. I didn't get too much into, what happened here, what didn't happen here. I just called him and said, sorry, what happened. And again, he's been a friend for a long time, and wish him the best at New England.
It's kind of weird the way the NFL works. I mean, you guys all somehow are on each other's staffs, and you know each other well, and you end up leaving for better opportunities, and some guys get fired. I mean, that's just the nature of the business, isn't it?
Most guys do. I've certainly been there. So, it's a small community, whether it's the coaches, the media market, the staffs. You build a lot of good relationships. The longer you're in it, the more friends you have that have been fired or have been to different places. Just very fortunate where I'm at now.
So I was just talking to Gio this morning, and just looking at your roster, the first guy I want to know about is Evan Neal, offensive tackle. You guys, this team seems like it's been trying to fix the offensive line for the last 5 or 6 years. I think lucky that he was there when you picked. And what have you seen from him so far?
Consummate pro as a young player, and you know how rookies are at times. This guy's got a great head on his shoulders. He's very quiet in his demeanor, but he goes about his business in such a professional manner. He's had a really good camp. He's long. He moves people at the line of scrimmage. I think he's been trained well, obviously, at the University of Alabama with Coach Saban and his staff. Was excited when he was there, and he's had a really good camp.
All right, let's get into Deshaun Watson. No, I'm kidding.
He doesn't look at his face. I don't want to talk about that.
No, I know. It's a joke. All right, so when you take over a job and you think about all the things that's going to happen to you as a head coach, I'm sure there's something that you didn't think of that when you got out there, it smacked you in the face and was like, wow, all right, I've got to deal with this as well. What are some of those things that you've, in your first camp, have had to deal with?
Well, there's a lot of different things. In the morning you get a list, whether it's from your assistant, who my assistant's fantastic, from the media people. There's always something to do or always something that pops up that requires attention. Have a good staff around you. I'd say that the best piece of advice I got a while ago was, when people come into your office, it's the most important thing to them, and it could be the 500, 600 thing on your list, but you better take time to listen to them, because they wouldn't walk into your office if it wasn't important. If you need to shut your door and do some work, you go ahead and do that, but there's a lot of that I'm getting used to as we get going here.
Boomer and Gio talking to Coach Brian Daboll, and early on when you got the job, there were so many reports about how you went around the building, you collectively brought everybody into the meeting room, and you were talking about, a singular purpose and all of that other stuff. Where'd you learn that stuff from?
A lot of reading. I'd say, keep my eyes open. I think they did a good job in Buffalo with that, of bringing people together. Look, there's going to be tough times. There's been tough times here. Obviously, it's well documented in terms of the losses, but I think everybody's job is important. My grandfather was a groundskeeper for 36 years at a local high school. Didn't get a lot of attention, but did his job every day and did it well. And I just appreciate everybody in the building, the work that they're putting in. Every job is important, and I think just treating people the right way is an important thing as a leader.
One of the things I love that you did was you played Kadarius Toney's Young Joker's music throughout the practice, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Because he's a fan favorite of ours. He's a Boomer and Gio favorite. So how's he been doing so far this year?
Good. Yeah, he's he missed spring, had a little injury there that we cleaned up. He's been out here. We've been ramping him up. Intelligent player. He's got good ability. He was good at Florida. He's been a good part of the team.
Yeah, I mean, he last year just jumped off the screen at times. I mean, I wish he hadn't gotten hurt. Who knows what type of season he would have. But, I mean, he's got that innate ability to do things that just not a lot of players do.
Yeah, and I think he's still learning to be a receiver. You know how important it is to be at the right spot at the right time. And he's such a tremendous athlete. Played quarterback down in Mobile, had a bunch of yards. He can throw the ball. He can run it. Used at Florida as kind of an athlete, if you will. So we're trying to develop him the best we can into a consistent receiver, and he's done a good job of working at it.
I always talk about some of my own experiences. My last 5 years, I had 5 different coaches, 5 different head coaches, which meant 5 different offenses, 5 different ways of doing things, 5 different ways of discussing things. Sure. I'm just wondering from Daniel Jones's perspective, and I know Tyrod's here. Tyrod's familiar with your system. Is your system much different than the system that Daniel was running prior to you arriving here?
Yeah, it's different, and you just said it. You went through it. It's the hardest position to play in sports mentally, a quarterback position, and learning a different language and then learning different route nuances that we have implemented to the offense. I'd say it's different. It's probably different than all the ones he's been around. Not to say it's better, it's worse. Tyrod, I wasn't. I was there for. I never really met Tyrod at Buffalo. He had, I was there, but we traded him or released him, and then we drafted Josh. But he's done a good job with picking up things. You know how hard it is, like learning a brand new language, walking every day. And I really take advice from him and let him implement some of the things that he really likes, whether that's from Duke or the first year he's been here, because if you're not comfortable playing that position, it's hard to play.
Yeah, and I think John Maris said it before, when he hired you, he said, look, man, we haven't really given this kid a chance.
Yeah.
And all you want is stability. And the guys in the league that have had stability, like a Josh Allen,
sure,
and a Patrick Mahomes, they have ascended to the top of the league.
Yep.
And I think Joe Burrow's got that in Cincinnati. It sounds like that's exactly what Justin Herbert has out there with the Chargers. I'm also thinking about now your defense. One of the biggest problems that this defense has had is rushing the passer.
Sure.
And all reports out of the early parts of training camp is that Kayvon Thibodeau is the real deal. It was interesting. My buddy Frank Reich, the head coach of the Colts, said the closest thing that Bruce Smith that he has seen is Myles Garrett, the defensive end from Cleveland, of course. Where on that level can we expect to see Kayvon Thibodeau?
I think it's early. I think he's done what we've asked him to do. He's obviously has some talent, but I wouldn't put him up there with those guys just yet. He hasn't even played a game yet, but he's got the right mindset. He definitely has ability. He's got good length. He's has a variety of pass rush moves. He's been an issue at times, but until we start playing and he goes in real live football games, we'll figure it out then.
Yeah, well, I'm assuming that he's given Thomas and Evan Neal a good run for their money here, though, right?
Yeah, I think it's been a good battle. Whether it's with Andrew Andrews had a really good camp, coming back from rehabbing his ankle, and he's had a really, really good camp. And Evan, look, he's big, he's long. Thibodeau's a good rusher. I think that's a good matchup, on both sides.
One thing this team has had a problem with has been injuries the last 4 years. I
Yeah.
mean, they have lost so many good players to injuries. And I know it's a tough question for you to answer.
Sure.
And you just lost a player this weekend at your Fan Fest practice.
Yeah, you got a knee.
And that was in the stadium.
Yeah.
There have been a number of knee injuries in this stadium here. What is going on with the field and the injuries, and have you have any answers, or does anybody have any answers?
No, I think, look, our injuries this, I'd say, summer have been down significantly. We use our sports science and our athletic training staff, and we try to design the best training camp schedules as we could. Obviously you're going to have training camp injuries in there. It was a kind of a non-contact injury for our right tackle. He kind of buckled and he got hit. But that's always stuff we look at.
Talking to Brian Daboll on the Fan and CBS Sports Network, also the free Odyssey app. And speaking of that, Saquon Barkley's career has been derailed by injuries to this point. We hear great things out of camp. Have you done anything differently with him early on to make sure that you have him for the most important moments in the regular season?
No, I think he's really excited to be out here, considering the last couple of years he's had some injuries. He had a tough one yesterday in terms of we grinded it out pretty good. It just kept handing to him over and over and over. And he loves it.
Yeah.
So I think he's in shape. He's worked really hard in the offseason. He's healthy. We'll try to use him the best way we can. But I'd say he had a good spring, and he's had a good camp.
Because you guys up in Buffalo were so good, and you were always on CBS, and you were always the national game, it felt like, and you were in so many big games. And you watch Josh grow over the 4 years that he's played. It's just amazing, the maturity level of which he's gotten to now.
Yeah.
And I remember just being critical of Brian Daboll. Why does he run the freaking ball more with the running backs? And I'm just wondering, if you ever heard that criticism, and you're going to take heed to that here in New York.
No. Hey,
okay.
comes with the territory. Look, we weren't very good in Cleveland, but we ran it a bunch with Peyton Hillis, and the same thing down in Miami with Reggie, kind of had his best year. Jamal Charles at Kansas City. I think what you try to do as a coach is, you put the ball in your best player's hands and let them go, whether that's a quarterback, a running back, different receivers, and tight ends. That's what I've always tried to do. Certainly not perfect at it. Have my share of mistakes, as you duly know to Boom, which is good. But that's okay. That's look. There's always certain things you'd love to have back, but we got a good running back here. Have a lot of confidence in him.
He can be a great running back. I mean, I worry about his pass blocking and stuff like that, but that's not really why he's here. So who is going to be calling the offensive plays? You or Mike Kafka, the offensive coordinator?
Right now, since camp has started in spring, Mike has called it. He'll call the game at the Patriots in the preseason, and we'll see how it goes. We'll go through the preseason if we got to make adjustments or not. But he's done a really good job. Smart Northwestern quarterback. Learned a lot from I'd say Andy. He's done a good job for us.
How long have you known him?
Known him. Probably 6 months, really known him. But
really?
Talked to him throughout, just him starting out as a coach. Or, he was at New England for a quick second when I was there as a practice squad guy. Then he ended up leaving. But really knowing him, I'm getting to meet him as we hired him here in February.
I can hear the phone calls already. How come Daboll's not calling the plays? What the hell's going on? Why does he take the play call over? He was a great offensive coordinator. Why did he hand the play call?
You know what?
I said the first preseason game.
But here's the thing. I always think offensive and defensive coordinators are usually hired because of their success on their side of the ball.
Sure.
But now you become a head coach to everybody.
Yeah.
You got to understand exactly what's going on. And look, you got Wink Martindale as your defense coordinator.
Yeah.
Tends to be overly aggressive. I mean, you gotta as a head coach have to realize exactly what he's doing and why he's doing what he's doing, right?
Sure. Yeah, what I try to do, Boom, every summer is reach out to whoever it is, whatever I'm doing. So if I'm an offensive coordinator, reach out to 4 or 5 coordinators or play callers, if you will, that have done really well in their career, whether they won a Super Bowl, had really successful offenses. Just ask questions, try to self-improve. And this summer I reached out to a number of really good coaches, a lot of Hall of Fame coaches, asked them, how they started, a bunch of questions, how they handled different things, took a lot of good information. And I think the most important is how I feel comfortable with it. but certainly took a lot from those guys.
How do you deal with an impatient place, impatient fans? I'm sure John Mara's a little impatient right now with some of the losing seasons, but you know that you have a team that you got a little ways to go. You got some work to do on the roster. I mean, taking this job over and needing to win right away, but maybe not being there, I mean, that's got to be a little bit of a challenge, right?
Yeah, you just try to focus on today, and do the best job you can today and be prepared. And count on good people around you. It's a team effort, just much like it is out on the field, within the organization, the staff, the coaching staff. I certainly don't have all the answers. I know that. I'm learning as I go. I'm giving everything I got. I'm getting input. We're working hard together. I don't think you can get too far ahead or really worry about the past. I've been on some really good teams, and I've been on some teams that weren't as good. So I'd say even those 4 or 5 years I had as a coordinator where, we weren't real successful, you learn how to deal with the criticism. When I was 32 or 33 when I was doing it, I didn't deal with it too well, Boomers, talking a bunch of junk to me. I'm going to reach out to this boomer here and give him a piece. But I understand everybody has a job to do. I know what my job is. I know what it means to people. And you take the good with the bad.
Yeah, nobody gets more crap than an offensive coordinator, too.
Yeah, but I'll tell you also, listen, you got lauded for your work with Josh Allen.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good things that have been said about you, and I
Yeah.
have been one of those as well. So sometimes we hear the negative more than we hear the positive.
No question.
So the other positive of what's going on here with the Giants is that you and Joe Shane have a relationship from Buffalo. So that's got to be helpful, that you can actually sit in a room together and you're not screaming at each other like some head coaches and GMs may be doing. I would like to think that you're on the same page.
Yeah, no, we are. And the communication is really good. We've been through a lot of shared experiences, I'd say, some good, some bad. He knows that he doesn't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. I think we work really well together. I think our staffs work really well together, from some of the guys that he's brought in to the guys that we retained, and the same thing, mutual respect, really good working relationship. I really appreciate, him and what he's done and what we're trying to do.
I got to ask you, that video, when you were walking into the building for your press conference, the slow motion park of the truck, get out, the walk in, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, let me just say, that wasn't my idea.
I know.
So, hey, that question you asked me about things that are unexpected.
Yeah, that.
Grab a briefcase that has nothing in it and walk in. I got it. Like,
that was my question. Was that staged?
I got six kids at home, and 4 of them are, older teenagers in their 20s.
Right.
And you think, people get on me. I mean, I can't live that one down with my kids. Rightfully so.
Did they tell you that this was what was happening, or was just a cameraman just right there filming it?
He was.
They staged it.
We were working on that.
Okay,
yeah.
just staged it.
Are all your kids in the general vicinity?
Most of them are gone. See, I got one son. He works, and he's in his early 20s,
right.
23, 22. I have another one. He's a senior at Penn State. So he helps out the football team. He signals in plays. He's been there for the past few years with Coach Franklin. And then a couple other ones that are just about to go. And we got some little ones. I'm telling you, I feel like a father and a grandfather at the same time.
Wow.
I'm with the 20-some years old, and he's holding a 4-year-old. And I said,
wait, you got a 4-year-old?
Yeah.
23 and 4.
Yeah.
Wow, that's some
Oh my
spread.
goodness, yeah.
And by the way, you already lost your hair, so you don't have to worry about gray hair or anything.
That's about 25 years in the making. I've worked for some good ones.
Yeah, I'm sure you have. I mean, what was it like working for Nick Saban?
It was great.
Was he a grind? Who was worse in terms of like the expectations, him or Belichick?
It wasn't. It was good. It was good expectations.
Right.
Doing your best. Demand a lot out of you. I've learned so much football, and I'd say, leadership skills from those guys. I was with Bill for, I think, 11 years, and Nick for 4 or 3.
And, of course, Sean McDermott.
And Sean, and the last 4 years with Sean, which is a little bit different. So, again, the one thing I learned is when I was young, and I went through some of those tougher times, I wasn't being myself a lot. I watched 2 of the best ever do it. And I just go in, and this is the way I do it. The older you get, the more mature you get. I think you're more comfortable in your skin. And then I saw a little bit of a different way to do it at Buffalo. which has been fantastic.
They've done a great job.
Absolutely fantastic. Great culture. Really good people there. Just thankful for my time. So I've learned a lot along the way of a lot of good things, maybe some things I don't want to do, and trying to do it together with the staff and with Joe.
Coach, it's been a pleasure talking to you, meeting you. Best of
guys.
luck.
Yeah, you guys are great. Appreciate it.
And hopefully we get a chance to talk to you soon and Boomer lays off you next time.
No. We're gonna pay attention. That's the thing. We love it. We're passionate about it. And all your friends up in Buffalo watch the show on TV.
What are their names? We'll shout them out.
Billy Finnerty.
Billy Finnerty. What's up, Billy? Thanks, man.
Yeah, that's a good guy right there.
So people don't know, Billy Finnerty actually told Coach before he came on everything that had been going on with our show.
Right.
So he knew when he sit down, how was Cabot?
Right.
How was Fire Island?
Yeah, he did.
How was your last coaching gig? I mean, it was amazing that Billy was able to get you in tune for the show.
He's a huge fan of you guys.
That's great.
So.
Well, thanks, Billy.
Hopefully it
Thanks,
remains,
Brian.
especially as long as things go well out here. Everything's going to be fine.
Comes with the territory.
Right, exactly.
Guys.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks so much.
Guys.
Coach Brian Daboll on the Fan and CBS Sports Network.